Hello to anyone who might be there joining the live with us. I'm just setting up my way to monitor what's happening through our Facebook Live here on my phone. But thank you so much for being with us today. Apologies that the launch was moved by a little bit because today is the third UP Baguio Chancellor's investiture, which is like the official ceremony where they go through the ritual that confers upon them the symbolic power of Chancellor. Kaya medyo busy sa campus kanina. Anyway, so this is just going to be a really quick session, especially because oh wow, there are 7 people joining us through the live stream. Hello to the 7 people there. I was with some colleagues earlier today, and we were laughing about how potentially the 7 and or 10 people who would be there are also us, diba? So that's fun. Anyway, so thank you so much for coming to today's launch. What we're going to do is show you the revamped College of Social Sciences website. Now, in the past couple of months, I think we began in March. To give you a bit of a background to this, the Dean of the College of Social Sciences, Dean Leah Abayao, who can't join us today because she's still, joining the people who are doing, talking to the chancellors who have visited for the investiture of our own chancellor. So it's okay that she can't join us now, but I do want you to know that ever since about February, January this year, she was already looking for a way for our website to actually be more easy to navigate and for it to be a place of connection for different kinds of people who might find use for it. For instance, this is a good site for students and prospective students as well. So, titignan po natin yan mamaya. Ano nga ba yung parts ng website na magagamit ng students? Ano yung parts na magagamit ng prospective students or people who would like to enroll in the College of Social Sciences? We'll do a little bit of a tour of our programs later on as well, just in case you want to know more about Soksai. And also, I will show you other items just in case you're a researcher. No? So you're someone who wants to connect to a faculty or a researcher at the University of the Philippines College of Social Sciences. Where do you begin, right? Okay, so let's tour the landing page first. So here we have a little bit of the history of Soksai, and there are really 3 main items you find here: administration, or who's in charge, who do you need to contact, for instance, when you're looking for a certain document. Academic programs, just in case you're someone who wants to enroll, for instance, in the Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences, or perhaps even the Bachelor of Science in Management Economics. Did I say Bachelor of Science? Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences. Ako, nag-graduate na ako sa Horsley, hindi pa ako sure kung ano yung pangalan. Di ba? San ka pa? Check it. Anyway, so after going through this, the top part of the landing page, you'll notice that there's actually an announcement board. So for hiring notices, if you're someone who wants to be hired by the university, or people who would like to keep tabs or keep parang an eye out for the kinds of talks that are held at the University of the Philippines College of Social Sciences, all the latest announcements can be found here. Yeah. So if you would like to see more of the announcements, for instance, you can click on this button. Okay, so if you would like to be a student, then you can find this section that is specifically designated for people who would like to be students. And also, because there's so many questions that come into play when you want to become a student. For instance, how do you submit an application? What is the tuition rate? Where do you see your application status? Especially because we're part of the University of the Philippines system, this is a little more complicated than reaching out to the actual place where you applied. No, so our very able RA Kilipilud, and shout out to her. She made the illustrations for this site as well. So she did a lot of the work for the website, and she compiled a lot of these key questions. So you can just look for whatever question you have here, or if it's not addressed, then you can send us a message. Okay, let's talk about contact information before we move on to showing you the key pages of the site. So if you want to call us, then you can find this here. This is a Baguio number though, so make sure you're using a phone that can call numbers outside your own area if you're not in Baguio or Benguet. Our email address is css.upbaguio@up.edu.ph, and we do have a Facebook page. So this Facebook page is typically where we're more active. So if you want to ask a query that's related to something on our page, do reach out to us there. Okay, so having said that, let's move on to the main parts of our interface here. So as you can see, it's a pretty good interface. We're very happy with um, the team that was commissioned to put this together. So I guess we're gonna start with admissions because it's so important for prospective students to get to know, what they can enroll in. There have been a couple of inquiries coming in through our CSS Facebook page where people are asking about what undergraduate programs we have, what master's programs we have, and we're gonna talk about that now. Okay. So we'll talk about those first, and then I'll tell you about the structure of the college, which you can see here in our departments and institutes section. And after that, we're going to talk about the community segment. So the community segment is a place to go if there are organizations that you want to reach. For instance, if you're another student organization from another school and you want to network with the, say, history organization here, then you can find their profile in this segment. We also have we have an entire section on our faculty. So if there's someone you want to look for specifically, or you're looking for someone who is a specialist in Indigenous studies, then you can look at our profiles here. And finally, we have linkages. So those are the two sections we're going to tour today. And if there's anything else you want to look at, then we do encourage you to check out the site yourself. Yes, so if you want to look at the site along with me, our address is css.upb.edu.ph, or you could just type up in your browser the College of Social Sciences, UP Baguio, and we should be one of the first entries that pops up. All right, so let's move on to touring the site for people who might want to enroll in some of our courses. So we have undergraduate degrees as well as graduate programs. Let's begin with the undergraduate degrees. We have two undergraduate degrees, the Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences, which I'll talk about in a bit, as well as the there's another one, but as I'll explain later, medyo interesting yung configuration namin in the sense that we have a Bachelor of Science in Management Economics. So we'll explain that in a bit, right? We have two undergraduate courses. Once again, that's a BA in Social Sciences and a BS in Management Economics. So what exactly is the BA in Social Sciences? So if you're familiar with disciplines or areas of study and work, such as sociology, political science, economics, history, psychology, anthropology, and so on, there is one entire course or one entire degree program where you could specialize in two of these social scientific areas, right? So who typically enrolls in these programs? People who want to work in development, people who want to work for NGOs, for government work, and people who just have an interest in these areas to begin with, right? So when you enter the program BA in Social Sciences, you can choose to major in one of three different major disciplines. So you can choose either anthropology, which you can read about here, the BA Social Sciences major in economics, which you can read about there, or the BA in Social Sciences major in history. Now, here's the catch, right? What if you don't know what these subjects entail? Di ba, kunyari, interested ka, pero ano nga ba talaga yung inaaral ng mga tao sa kursong yun? So, kunyari, mamili ka, no? Anthropology. Say you have an interest in anthropology or, say, economics, and you want to know what they study. Well, the thing is, when you press the Know More button, the checklist button, it will lead you to a page that talks about what they try to teach you under the program, as well as something called the checklist. Now, this is helpful for both people who want to enter the program, as well as people who already are in the program but need to look for their checklists. But what is a checklist, right? And so when you press the button that says checklist, you'll be brought to, yes, these items, right? So let's just tour them a little bit so you can see the resources available here as well. So what were we talking about? Kunyari, gusto niyong mag-economics with a minor in political science, which quite a few people end up taking in when they enter the College of Social Sciences. Okay. So remember, this is still a BA in social sciences with a major in economics and a minor in political science. So here, when you scroll down, you get to see the actual courses that these students take. Say Economics 101 is macroeconomics, and Political Science 100 is approaches to understanding political phenomenon. So if you're just shopping for a college course or a place to transfer to, you might want to check out our checklists available on the website. Right. Okay, so this isn't necessarily an orientation to our degree program. So I just want to tour you through the resources you can look at if that's something that you would like to do. What else do we have? Okay, so we have another undergraduate degree, which is the BS in Management Economics. And it's headed by a special section of the CSS called the Institute of Management. And if you want to know more about the BS in Management Economics, you can press this button over here. It's not as the configuration is not as complicated because you don't really need to sign up for a major and then a minor and then figure out what all of that means. So if you're interested here, just navigate the site and see what we have in store for you. For students who are already part of the program, there are links related to uh, things like the BAS handbook, which is the Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences handbook, and it tells you about the rules related to, how you can graduate, how you can get honors status, for instance, if that's something you're interested in, how you can look at the prerequisites for courses as well. So if you want to learn about the BAS program structure, this is where it's explained. So how many units do you need to take in order to graduate? Dito po mahahanap yun. Ayan. Okay, so that's it for the items related to prospective undergraduate students. But what if you're here as a prospective master's or even PhD student? Now, there are two master's degrees offered by the college. The first is three actually. Sorry. So there are three master's level courses and then one PhD level program, which we help support with faculty. Okay. So we have an MA in history. If you're interested in the MA in history, there's actually going to be an orientation on Monday. Check out our Facebook page because we've posted the details related to how you can sign up and meet our faculty as well as some special guests. So the MA in history has a specialization in ethnohistory and local history specifically. If you want to know more about it, the brochure is linked here. So let's just tour it a little bit so you can see what we have here. Yan. So the brochure should be linked somewhere down here. Anyway, everything in the brochure is also written on this page. So for instance, you are a student who would like to take a part-time course of work, then this explains how you would go through your first, second, and third years. If you're a full-time student, they explain, or this page explains which courses you would have to take first. If you're interested in learning about the specific courses under a master's program, then you have the class codes, the course title, as well as the course description available here. So that's it for the MA in history. We also have an MA in social and development studies, which is one of the older programs or master's programs that has been offered by the college. Let's just wait for it to load a little bit and then we can see. Yeah, so it's quite similar. Some parts are a little different because different people manage the information for these pages, but you can see the course structure and a study plan as well as the required courses that you have to take. We also have a lot of enrollees who are interested in the Master of Management program, which, as I've said earlier, is kind of headed by a special unit, the Institute of Management, which is why they have a different site over here. So they have an entire interface that you can also explore if that's a program you want to get into. Now, finally, for our programs offered under the college, we have a PhD in Indigenous Studies, which is actually an international program. We get faculty who are teaching, but they're based in other universities abroad. So it's a very exciting program to be part of. The University of the Philippines Baguio actually specializes in Indigenous studies, especially in the north of the Philippines. And this is why we have a program like this. So if you want to know more about our PhD program, then you can click on this link. So yeah, once again, you have your course structures, course descriptions, as well as study plan, which is helpful for any professional who still wants to um, get a degree while working. Okay, so related to this, no, we are now going to move on to the community part of our website, which is an exciting place because it shows you, let's see what's in our students section now. Yeah, and how we have a lot of different student academic organizations. So there are several sections to our community page. We have students, alumni, faculty, and linkages or institutional linkages we're formally connected to for research partnerships as well as community partnerships. So there are um, different academic organizations in the or under the College of Social Sciences. So the way it works is each discipline, if you remember what we looked at earlier, right, you can choose to major in economics, political science, uh, economics, history, sorry, or anthropology. And then you can minor in the other courses mentioned. So that's sociology, political science, philosophy, psychology, and I'm missing one, but it should be here. No. So each of these basically has a student organization in charge. And they're quite active. Even during the pandemic, they were able to network with fellow students to provide, activities to kind of lessen the load of learning alone online and other activities that were very engaging. So they had conferences, student paper presentations, invited guests, and you can see some of their activities here. Yeah. So events and activities related to students can be found in this section. Okay, so what if you are a researcher who's looking for someone to tap or to collaborate with? Then we would recommend you look at the Meet the Faculty page. So here we have a faculty list for the 4 different units within the College of Social Sciences. So there are 3 departments and 1 institute. The Department of Anthropology, Sociology, and Psychology has the following faculty. So once you choose one faculty, for instance, let's look at the profile of Professor Annalyn Salvador Amores. Once you click on their profile, you'll be able to look at their academic background, their research interests, as well as their publications. So that's the tab that you can navigate for this department. The other department is called the Department of Economics, Political Science. So this is the faculty profile for the Department of Political Science. The last department is the Department of History and Philosophy. And you can navigate the arrows here to see who else we have on our faculty roster. Finally, we have the Institute of Management, which is the primary unit in charge of the Bachelor of Science in Management Economics, as well as the the Masters in Management or the MM program. So, ayun, if you are interested in any specific, say, department or institute, you can look at this tab. Okay, how about other questions, right? You're a prospective student and you want to know how exactly you can study at the university with a bit of assistance. So, the last section that we're going to look at today is the financial aid section. Okay. So, there are several kinds of financial aid available to students. In the first place, people who enter the University of the Philippines in general, whichever campus it may be, or any state university in the Philippines, is entitled to free tuition under the Free Tuition Act. But if a student needs assistance in addition to that, then there are scholarships which can be accessed here. So, undergraduate degrees are eligible for scholarships. There are some alumni who have private parang setups to have specific people financed throughout their college education. So the better way to see if there is a scholarship open is to follow the Facebook page and email through the css.upbaguio@up.edu.ph. We also have a unit at the University of the Philippines, Baguio, in charge of financial assistance. So we would course you through these channels if there's a specific need. There's also emergency funds just in case students go through very difficult situations like accidents and things like that. So if there's some funding left over for that, there can be an allocation made for these students, especially during the pandemic. There were many very special situations. So there are setups available for that. Okay, what if you're a graduate student though? There is still financial aid available for our master's students as well as our PhD students. And this is something that's available through CHED, or the Commission on Higher Education. There is something called the CHED CCAP Scholarship, which is a semestral kind of scholarship, and all of the details related to that can be checked on their website. Unfortunately, it's not part of our tour today, but at least if you want to find out about financial aid available through the College of Social Sciences, any updates will be posted here. Okay, so to tie up our tour today, I'm going to show you I'm going to show you the things we already described earlier, which are how to contact us, right? So remember, if you want to contact the College of Social Sciences, you can, one, call us through the phone number, or you can email us through the css.upbaguio@up.edu.ph email address. Or if you have a concern that is pretty urgent and easy to answer in the sense that we don't need to tap other offices, then you can send us a message through our Facebook page. So let's just open the Facebook page real quickly so you can check that out as well. Here we have the Facebook page. Ayan po. And of course, if you're in town and you want to drop in, just sign up at the visitors section and you can check out the campus at UP Drive, Governor Pack Road in Baguio City. So that's it for our live session today. Let me just check to see if anyone has questions in our chat. And if not, we can end for today. All right, looks like there are no questions in chat. My colleagues are in the chat saying hello. Okay, so thank you once again. Thank you so much for joining our quick tour of the website. You can find it at css.upb.edu.ph, and we hope your queries will be answered. If not, just feel free to reach out and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. I suppose I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Jiraiya. I teach history, and it's been nice spending some time touring the site with you. Have a great day. Bye bye.